Good morning and happy Tuesday as we endure this self-quarantining for the coronavirus. I am really tickled to have the opportunity to spend this time with you through the video, and glad that you are dropping in with us. I know that I'm on a different set today. We're taping in Hudson Hall today, but usually I'm at the desk in my office, and on my bookcase there are several packs of Oreos, and for some reason that has caught all of your attention and everybody wants to know about the Oreos. Well, as you know, I talk a lot about Oreos. For me, it is a good way to help you understand what happens when sin begins to work in your life. If you get up in the morning and say, today I'm not going to eat an Oreo, today I'm going to be strong and I'm not going to eat an Oreo, and if that's what you think about, the thing that you have done is you have put Oreos right in the center of your brain. And you'll go through all day going, okay, I'm not going to twist the chocolate cookie apart and I'm not going to eat the icing first like you do with an Oreo. It becomes what you think about and then what consumes you. And about 5 o'clock that afternoon, you will be in the cookie aisle of the local grocery store buying all the Oreos you can eat. It's the same way with sin. And when you say, I'm not going to do this, well, what you've done is place it in the center of your brain, and it becomes a thing that you become obsessed with to the point that you end up sabotaging yourself and doing it. I have talked a lot about that to the point that Oreos have kind of become my theme cookie, I guess. And friends, when they travel, bring me back Oreos from all over the world. I've got cookies from Italy. I've got cookies from Brazil. I've got cookies from several nations in Africa. And I think the ones behind me on the bookshelf there are actually from the Holy Land. So I have Oreo cookies from Jerusalem there on my bookcase. But it's been kind of fun, and that's where they are from, and that's where the Oreos story started, and a lot of you have picked up on it, and a lot of you continue to bless me with Oreos, and so it's been a lot of fun. But those on the bookshelf are from Israel, and as well as all over the world. When we read the story of Jesus' crucifixion and we hear him cry out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" One of the things that hits you is, wow, that is so beautifully spoken when Jesus is in such obvious agony. How in the world, while he's hanging on the cross, can he have such clarity of thought that he can compose what is almost poetry? Well, in reality, he's not composing it. He's quoting it. That is the opening line of Psalm 22. Did you know that? Jesus is quoting a psalm. Now, one of the things that we have reminded you of when we went through Psalm 23 a few months ago in the life of our church, and we had you memorize Psalm 23, one of the reasons we did that is the Psalms are the prayer book of the Bible. They are the prayers that Jesus himself would have learned to pray. And the way you did it is you would memorize the psalm. And if you were going to quote a psalm or you wanted to reference a psalm, the way you would do it is you would quote the first line of the psalm. And you would say, what I really want you to understand right now is what is in this psalm, and you would quote the first line. For instance, the Lord is my shepherd. Okay, that means that you would want someone to understand that what you're really thinking about is the content of Psalm 23. Psalm 22 is what Jesus quoted. It's what he would have memorized most likely as a child. This is how you pray. This is how you talk to God. And the Psalms teach us how to do that. And it's interesting that the Psalms give us permission to express our frustration and our anger at God. My God, why have you forsaken me? The Psalm goes on, I'm surrounded by my enemies. I'm not going to make it. I cry out to you day and night, and you do not hear me. Have you felt like that? Let me ask you another question. Have you prayed like that? Have you taken the confidence, have you had the confidence in God that he loves you enough to listen honestly to what you're saying and what you're feeling and go say, I am so angry, I am so frustrated by what's going on in my life? Jesus did. My God, why? Why have you left me here? Why can I not feel your presence? Why don't I know that you're here with me. I don't mind the cross as much as I do this feeling of being abandoned. And that's really what bothers us, isn't it? It's not that life gets hard. It's not that times get tough. It's this haunting feeling that we're in this thing by ourselves. You know, one of the things that Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego remind us of, that it's not the fire that's the problem. Because when the king looked in, there was a fourth who was walking with them. You can take anything as long as you know Jesus is with you. And now in this moment when Jesus is suffering most, he can't find the presence of the Father. So he cries out the prayers that he'd been taught as a child. My God, why? But like I said, when you say something like the first line of Psalm 22, what you really are saying is the whole psalm. And if you read the entire psalm, by the time you get to the end, he celebrates, you have heard me, and I will get through this. And he celebrates the response of God, the celebration of the victory of God, and the confidence that God is going to see him through this moment that he can't see himself through. Jesus knew how to pray. He knew how to pray in those worst moments of his life. And he knew how to pray because he had read the Psalms that taught him how to pray. So let me ask you something about your prayer life. What are you basing your prayer life on? Conversation, what you feel in the moment? Jesus based his prayer life on the Psalms. That might be a good place for us to start. Jesus knew the Psalms. He memorized the Psalms. That might be another good place for us to start. So that the book of prayer in the Bible teaches us to pray. Yes, the Lord is my shepherd. That is a psalm of great comfort. There are psalms of great victory, and there are psalms of great despair. Why have you forsaken me? It's all part of the prayer life. It's all part of the conversation with God. That's what the Psalms teach us about prayer. Pray honestly, pray openly, pray trusting that God will hear you, and not only hear you, but answer you. My God, why have you forsaken me? It's the first line of Psalm 22. Now, why don't you take a few minutes and read the rest of that psalm? I'm going to give you 60 seconds now. Read that psalm and think about what it teaches you about prayer. And when you're done, turn off the tape, and I'll see you tomorrow.